is one thing which should worry President Uhuru Kenyatta and his allies, then it's the silence of the deputy president, William Ruto. William Ruto is not known to be a man who keeps his cool. William Ruto is known to speak his mind. But the deputy president has been very silent, despite the fact that the president and his allies have been mistreating him and removing his key allies from various parliamentary and party leadership. So the president should be very worried about the silence of his deputy. And on Monday, President Uhuru Kenyatta convened Jubilee parliamentary group meeting at KICC in Nairobi. And during that meeting, the president kicked out Aden Duale as the majority leader of the National Assembly. Aden Duale is one of the key allies of the deputy president, William Ruto. And William Ruto refused to speak when the president invited him to say a word. So the president should actually be very worried about what the deputy president is thinking. This is what happened. President Uhuru Kenyatta convened Jubilee parliamentary meeting 2 weeks ago. Aden Duale survived. Then members of parliament collected signatures to kick out Aden Duale. Again, the president convened another Jubilee parliamentary group meeting. And it was expected that the president was going to save Aden Duale. And the president convened that meeting and he was supposed to address it through a Zoom meeting. But through last minute, the president decided to walk straight to KICC. And the entire meeting took only 27 minutes. And within 27 minutes, one of the key allies of the deputy president had been kicked off. And when the president arrived, Rafael Tuju, who is the Secretary General of the party, spoke. Before him, there was the male women rep, spoke, didn't really speak, but offered a prayer. Then Rafael Tuju spoke as the Secretary General and then invited the deputy president to say a word and then invite the president. But according to those who are present, the deputy president refused to talk. He just said he had nothing to say, which means he didn't even stand up to invite the president. So it forced Rafael Tuju now to invite the president to address the meeting. And the president also spoke very briefly, just direct to the agenda of removing Rafael Tuju. And once he was done, he asked his deputy to say a word. Again, the deputy president did not speak. So the question which Kenyans are asking, why did the deputy president refuse to speak? In my view, 5 reasons. Number 1 is the fact that his allies had actually boycotted that event. Remember, that was the 3rd parliamentary group meeting called by President Uhuru Kenyatta. The first one was for the senators, and the one for the senators, the deputy president actively tried to prevail on the senators not to attend. And senators attended. Kipchumba Murkomen and Susan Kihika were kicked out. So that was the first one. Then in the second one, where Washeli was kicked out, another of his ally, the deputy president then decided to attend. And of course, because of his presence, probably that explains why Aden Duale survived. Now this one, the last one, which was on Monday, his allies, majority of them did not attend. Oscar Sudi was very clear that he was not going to spend a single minute from his time to attend a meeting at State House, because the previous one walisomewa kama watoto. As a matter of fact, Oscar Sudi and the party member of parliament, Kimani Ngunjiri, called for a press conference and they announced to the entire world that they were not going to attend. Moses Kuria, another key ally of the deputy president, also indicated clearly that he was not going to attend because he had already known the agenda of that meeting. So I think because of the absence of those allies, because most of his allies, people like the Soy member of parliament, Caleb Kositany, refused to attend. Many of them, because they were absent, the deputy president did not see the need to speak at that event, because majority of the people who were present were actually Team Keleweke. So I strongly believe that because some of his allies were absent, he didn't see the need to speak. Because who was he going to address? Were they going to allow him to address them? And what was he going to tell them? The second reason why probably the deputy president also refused to speak, I think, is the way he was invited. Jubilee Parliamentary Group meeting was convened, and according to Jubilee Constitution, it's supposed to be convened by the president. I don't know how they've been doing the previous ones, but on this particular one, the president just made the decision alone. And then he asked the majority whip, Emmanuel Wangwe, to send out the invitation letter through David Murade. So the deputy president was not part and parcel of organizing this event. He only received invitation through SMS the way the rest of members of parliament also received theirs. So I think as a human being, he's not very happy. He attended because the deputy president, basically his presence there was a communication to the people of Central Kenya that for me, I'm still with this man. But in reality, the deputy president was not invited in a proper way. The people who were organizing the meeting, people who were speaking, are people who were known to oppose him. So I think deep down there, he was seated there and now, okay, imukutano 100 and how many members of parliament have attended? 170? But how many? Ni watu wangu. How did they invite members of parliament, and who invited me to this meeting? So I think he was not happy with the way he was invited. Number 3 is about the main agenda of the day. Here was the deputy president, William Ruto. Here was President Uhuru Kenyatta. And here was Aden Duale. Those are the top three leaders in Jubilee Party, 2017, 2013, from 2013 up to now. They've campaigned together, they've done together, every other thing. Now the president is now turning wild. The president is sending Aden Duale home. He has decided and he has resolved that. The deputy president is now there. Now, what would you have expected the deputy president to say? And remember, the former cabinet secretary, Rashid Echesa, once accused the deputy president of just sitting there and watching without protecting his people. Assuming the deputy president was allowed to speak, he would have contradicted the president. He would have told him, boss, Apa, we are going to do this, you want us to kick out Duale, but for me, it's not the best move. That alone would have contradicted the president, and the president had decided to kick out this guy. And because the guy the main agenda on that table was Aden Duale, the DP had nothing to say. Number 4, I think, is also the presence of Raphael Tuju at that event. The deputy president and his allies have termed Raphael Tuju, they have termed David Murade as conmen. People who are just doing things to frustrate the ordinary Jubilee members. Now you are in a meeting and the guy is asking you to speak. It's a guy you've consistently called a conman. A man your supporters believe is your greatest enemy. Now inviting you, wewe kuja, ongea, alafu you invite the president to speak. So basically, if he had done that, he would have confirmed one thing, that Raphael Tuju is indeed very powerful because he was with these people. Some of these members of parliament were present at KICC. People who have insulted Rafael Tuju. And Rafael Tuju was the only one speaking. Then apart from Rafael Tuju, then him and the president. So it was going to confirm to everybody that Rafael Tuju is still very powerful. And he can't imagine that Rafael Tuju was not going to be the one inviting him to invite the president. The only non-member of parliament speaking at that event. I'm sure if an arrangement had been made differently, probably he would have spoken. If it was him speaking and inviting the president without Rafael Tuju. But the president also wanted to send a message that Rafael Tuju ndio baada atakuwa secretary general. So kubali usikubali. But because the deputy president is also the deputy president, he refused to that. And lastly, I think it also had to do with the events of the previous week. In the previous week, a lot of things happened in Jubilee Party. President Uhuru Kenyatta, through Jubilee Party, Kalonzo Musyoka, through Wiper Party, and Isaac Ruto, through Chama cha Mashinani, entered into a post-election agreement. And this agreement, the deputy president was not featuring anywhere. Then after that, the deputy president responded. The deputy president then went and launched or opened Jubilee Assili Center, where he was saying those who have been kicked out, those who are unwanted in Jubilee headquarters will be meeting there. So here, you are coming to a parliamentary group meeting of Jubilee Party. The president, the party leader, had entered into a coalition agreement with other political parties without informing you. So the deputy president felt that the president disrespected him. Yeah? And the mere fact that he went ahead also and formally opened a parallel office, he was not comfortable. Because assuming he stood there to speak and someone interrupted him, that tell us something about Jubilee Assili. What do you think the deputy president would have said? Nothing. And because of those 5 reasons, the deputy president did not see any need to speak. And because the deputy president has decided to remain silent, I want to advise the president, and I want to advise his friends, David Murade, Rafael Tuju, and any other one in Jubilee Party to be very careful with the deputy president. This is a man who is known to speak his mind. He is not speaking. And the mere fact that the deputy president is not speaking, he is actually communicating to you guys. And the mere fact that he's communicating to you, you need to figure out what is the deputy president communicating to President Uhuru Kenyatta. What is the deputy president communicating to Rafael Tuju and the guys, the secretariat, the Jubilee secretariat? What is he communicating to them? So these guys must be very careful. I don't know what you think, but for me, the silence of the deputy president is one thing which should actually worry President Uhuru Kenyatta more than the current crisis we are facing as a country. I don't know what you think, but for me, that's my take. And if you are watching this video for the first time, I want you to take a second or two and hit the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And there's one thing, there's a request I always make on this channel, and I want to ask, I will not tire from making that request. Please help me create interactions for some of these videos, especially like this one. And how do you help me create interactions? Simple. Give the video thumbs up. Just click thumbs up or thumbs down if you don't like the video. Because from there, I'll be able to know whether the video is good or whether the video is bad. But the best one is just to share the video. So after watching the video, just share the video. And for those who don't mind the ads, you can actually watch the ads also, because if you watch them, then I get paid for them. But it's not a must. But for those who value this channel, you can always watch those ads without skipping. I take a lot of time, like 15 minutes to create a video. It doesn't cost you to just watch 2 seconds, to watch ad for like 3 seconds. It doesn't cost anything. Please, thank you, and drop your comments. Do you think President Uhuru Kenyatta should be worried about his deputy? Thank you guys, and please, may you have a good day.